308. We've got a Trigicon IDR&R for the faster, the oversized bolt release. This is a personal favourite of mine.
Daughter of our clan.
Can change the Kiki. You must learn to move like for this next exo. Your ward at all. Why did you fail? Win or lose, you will all.
Do you know who I am? Intent.
You should get out of the way.
You copied.
Orders.
John Wick.
Come on, he's only one back.
Cut across here.
Fate. And you king is your...
Hey guys, today we're diving headfirst into the stylish, bullet-ridden world of Ballerina. The John Wick spin-off that proves revenge is a dish best served with pirouettes and a whole lot of firepower. Get ready to watch Rooney, played by the incredibly talented Armas, turn her grief into grit as she hunts down the folks who wiped out her family. It's a tale as old as time. Somebody messed with the wrong person, and now they're about to get a crash course in why you never, ever underestimate a trained assassin with a chip on her shoulder. The movie opens with a poignant, almost idyllic scene of a young Rooney, no older than 10, showcasing her blossoming talent at a local ballet recital. The stage lights, the elegant leaps, the proud smiles of her parents in the audience, it's picture perfect, almost too good to be true, right? Because, of course, it is. The serene atmosphere shatters in a heartbeat. We're plunged into a chaotic, terrifying home invasion, a jarring contrast of quiet domesticity against the sudden, brutal intrusion of violence. Shadows flicker, muffled shouts echo, and the palpable fear of her family hangs heavy in the air. Before we can even process the horror, a deafening explosion rips through their home, a fiery, concussive blast that silences everything. When the dust settles, literally, the screen shows alone, terrified Rooney, no longer the graceful dancer, but a traumatized child standing amidst the smoldering ruins of her life. Her world has been reduced to ash and rubble, a stark, visceral tableau of loss. The emotional weight of this opening is immense, laying the groundwork for every single head kick and bullet-riddled showdown to come. It's a brutal origin story that immediately hooks you, demonstrating the profound emptiness that now drives our protagonist. If you had a good time with this, a like and a subscribe is a free way to help me keep making more. Fast forward a few years, and we find Rooney not in therapy, though she probably needs it, but in the unforgiving, shadowy embrace of the Rusker Roma Syndicate. This isn't your average after-school activity. It's a killer curriculum where the syllabus includes lethal ballet, advanced weapon proficiency, and the fine art of disappearing. Her new parental figures are the enigmatic director, played by the incomparable Angelica Huston, and a stern, no-nonsense instructor who clearly skipped the gentle encouragement class. We see Rooney, now a teenager, enduring a grueling training regimen. The clatter of weights, the rhythmic thud of her fists against a punching bag, the whiz of thrown knives embedding themselves into targets. Every sound emphasizes the brutal dedication to her new path. Her ballet, once a source of joy, is now weaponized, each precise movement integrated into her combat style. We're talking pirouettes into pistol whips, and plies leading to gut punches. It's less Swan Lake and more Assassination Lake. She's not just learning to fight, she's learning to kill with a lethal grace, transforming her body into a precision instrument of vengeance. The cinematography here perfectly captures the duality, the elegant lines of a dancer contrasting sharply with the brutal efficiency of a killer. The sweat gleams on her brow, her muscles strain, and a look of steely determination, bordering on obsession, solidifies in her eyes. It's a powerful transformation montage, showing us how the innocent girl was meticulously chiseled into a formidable, relentless force. Each punch, each kick, each perfectly executed disarm is a step closer to her inevitable mission, finding those who stole her past years later. Rooney has become a ghost, a legend whispered among the criminal underworld. She's officially a ballerina, an elite assassin whose performances are always fatal. Her life is a blur of aliases, safe houses, and the constant hum of her unresolved quest for vengeance. Our first real glimpse of her in action, post-training, is in a bustling, vibrant European street market. The aroma of spices and street food hangs heavy in the air, juxtaposed against the underlying tension of her mission. She moves through the crowd with an almost unnerving fluidity, observing everything, yet noticed by no one. Suddenly, a fleeting, almost imperceptible contact. A hand brushes hers, and an anonymous envelope is slipped into her palm. No words are exchanged, no lingering glances, just a silent exchange of information in a world where loose lips sink ships, and sometimes, even entire syndicates. Inside the envelope, Rooney finds a grainy photo of a man she's never seen, his face scarred and cold, accompanied by a cryptic, coded message. The air around her seems to thicken, the background noise of the market fading as her focus sharpens. This isn't just a random assignment. This is personal. This is the first thread, a tantalizing lead that reignites the embers of her long-dormant fury. The clenching of her jaw, the slight tremor in her hand as she clutches the photograph, speaks volumes about the raw emotion simmering beneath her composed exterior. The hunt has officially begun, and we're all just along for the explosive ride, following the cryptic lead. Rooney tracks her first target to a high-energy, thumping nightclub, a veritable den of flashing lights and questionable dance moves. The bass practically vibrates your teeth, a rhythmic pulse that underscores the rising tension. She moves through the throng, her eyes scanning, her senses heightened. The target, a bulky man with a permanent scowl and a posse of bodyguards, is exactly where the intel said he'd be. The moment of confrontation is swift and brutal. Rooney, with a chillingly calm demeanor, corners him. Before he can even register the threat, she strikes. What follows is a symphony of violence choreographed with the precision of a master ballet. The crack of bone meeting bone, the whoosh of a kick cutting through the air, the metallic clang as a knife is expertly parried. Gunfire erupts, each bang swallowed slightly by the deafening music, turning the club into a chaotic canvas of light and shadow. Rooney disarms, incapacitates, and eliminates her way through the bodyguards, moving with a fluid, almost ethereal grace that belies her lethal intent. Every movement is a dance of death, a swift pirouette to dodge a bullet, a powerful leap to disarm an opponent, a final, brutal kick that sends a foe sprawling. The ground literally shakes as bodies hit the floor. She uses the environment to her advantage, sliding across slick floors, leaping over VIP booths, even incorporating a champagne bottle into her arsenal. It's a beautifully violent spectacle, each punch and shot ringing with a visceral impact, leaving no doubt about her skill or her unwavering resolve. The target, now cornered and terrified, finally gives up a name. A crumb of information about the true orchestrators before Rooney delivers the final, unforgiving blow. With the first piece of the puzzle in hand, Rooney knows she needs more. This isn't just about taking down small fry. It's about dismantling an entire operation. So she ventures into the murky underworld of information brokers, specifically seeking out a contact known only as the archivist. Imagine if you're eccentric and hoarded secrets instead of porcelain cats, and you're halfway there. His shop is a labyrinthine antique store overflowing with ancient tomes, arcane artifacts, and enough dust to trigger an allergy attack. The air is thick with the scent of old paper and conspiracy. The archivist himself is a weary, almost skeletal man with eyes that seem to see right through you, and a voice like gravel scraping on concrete. He speaks in riddles and half-truths, always demanding a steep price for his knowledge, not just coin, but leverage, favors, something he can hold over you. Rooney, ever the pragmatist, has come prepared. Their exchange is a tense dance of veiled threats and calculated offers. The whisper of air through ancient vents, the creak of floorboards underfoot, the subtle clink of old metal as the archivist gestures with a dusty, ornate letter opener. Every sound amplifies the quiet tension. He reveals that the syndicate is far more extensive than she imagined, with tendrils reaching into high places. He gives her a second name, a key lieutenant, and a location, a heavily fortified data center hidden within a nondescript corporate building. This isn't just a hit anymore. It's an infiltration mission. Rooney leaves the shop, the weight of the new information pressing down on her. The echoes of her family's demise spurring her forward. The game just got a whole lot more dangerous and, frankly, a lot more interesting. Knowing she's venturing into territory that might ruffle some very important feathers, Rooney makes a pilgrimage to a sanctuary, a neutral zone where the rules are absolute and the management prefers things orderly. The Continental Hotel. Stepping through those grand doors, you can almost feel the shift in atmosphere from the grimy, unpredictable street to a haven of hushed luxury, where the clink of crystal glasses and soft jazz provide a stark contrast to the violence lurking just outside. Winston, the impeccably tailored proprietor, greets her with that familiar, almost unsettling calm, his eyes missing nothing. With Karen ever present, radiating an aura of dignified menace, Rooney sits across from Winston in the opulent lounge. Their conversation is a masterclass in polite warnings and veiled threats. He acknowledges her past, her training, and the righteous fury driving her, but also subtly reminds her of the high table's long reach and the severe consequences of operating outside the established protocol. The rustle of his silk suit, the soft tapping of her fingers on the armrest, these small sounds are amplified in the quiet tension. He offers a cryptic piece of advice, a subtle nudge toward a path less likely to incur the full wrath of the underworld, but ultimately leaves her to her own devices. It's a reminder that even in a world of assassins, there are rules, and Rooney's single-minded quest for revenge is dangerously close to breaking every single one of them. She nods, a silent acknowledgement of the unspoken truths, and exits, the weight of Winston's words lingering, but her resolve unbroken. The man's practically a walking disclaimer for actions have consequences, but also sometimes consequences are worth it. Armed with the archivist's intel, Rooney targets the data center, a seemingly impenetrable fortress of information located high in a sleek, modern skyscraper. This isn't a smash and grab, it's a surgical strike. The city lights twinkle below, a silent audience to her audacious plan. The wind whistles around the building's apex as she prepares her descent, the creak of her gear the only sound against the silent urban backdrop. She rappels down the sheer glass face of the building, a dark silhouette against the moonlit sky, moving with the practiced ease of a spider. This is less mission impossible and more mission inevitable when Rooney is involved. Security systems, pressure plates, laser grids, they're all meticulously bypassed with a combination of high-tech gadgetry and sheer, acrobatic skill. The soft hiss of a pressure sensor being neutralized, the click of a lock giving way, every sound is precise, controlled. She breaches the target floor, slipping through a reinforced window with the grace of a shadow. Inside, the data center hums with the low thrum of servers, a digital heartbeat echoing through the sterile environment. Rooney navigates a maze of glowing racks, her fingers flying across keyboards as she bypasses firewalls and decrypts sensitive files. She's not just looking for names. She's looking for connections, for the puppet masters pulling the strings, hoping to find the exact coordinates of her vengeance. The tension is palpable as a security patrol clumps down a distant corridor, forcing Rooney to flatten herself against a server rack, holding her breath. This part of the mission requires stealth and intellect, a different kind of combat where information is the weapon and silence is the shield. Just when Rooney thinks she's extracted the crucial data and is making her escape, a new layer of chaos unfolds. As she ascends to the rooftop for her planned exfiltration, the sky opens up, unleashing a torrent of rain that turns the concrete into a treacherous, slick battlefield. And, of course, because nothing is ever easy, she's ambushed. A squad of black-clad assassins, clearly expecting her, emerge from the shadows, their movements sharp and predatory. This isn't just a handful of goons. This is a highly trained unit. The pattering of rain gives way to the crack of gunfire and the thwack of punches. Rooney, wet and vulnerable, doesn't miss a beat. She engages immediately, using the slippery conditions to her advantage, turning every puddle into a potential trap. The fight is a brutal, desperate dance. The scrape of boots on wet concrete, the gasp of breath, the wet slab of a punch connecting, every sound is raw and unforgiving. She kicks, grapples, and parries, her balletic grace now a slippery, violent blur. One assassin, surprisingly agile, matches her move for move, forcing Rooney to adapt. Their struggle takes them across precariously placed scaffolding, the groan of metal echoing the high stakes. A sudden whiz of a bullet nearly takes her head off, followed by the shatter of a distant window. She disarms one attacker, using their own gun against another, the sharp report echoing into the night. It's a close call, a testament to her resilience and the sheer volume of training she's endured. She barely makes it out, leaving a trail of unconscious or worse bodies in her wake, clutching the data drive like it's her last breath. The adrenaline is almost palpable, leaving you as breathless as Rooney herself. You know, just another Tuesday for an assassin, right? Operating outside the lines, even for a righteous cause, has its consequences. Rooney is summoned not politely, but imperatively to the opulent, yet chillingly formal, inner sanctum of the Rusk Aroma, a hidden theater that doubles as the director's private office. The creak of her leather boots on the polished floor seems deafening in the cavernous, hushed space. The director, a figure of immense power and severe elegance, sits upon a throne-like chair, her gaze like ice. She's not angry, precisely, but deeply displeased. Her voice, a low rumble that carries authority, chastises Rooney for her independent actions, reminding her in no uncertain terms of the strict code and the potential repercussions from the high table. The swish of her robes as she shifts slightly, the click of her fingers signaling a guard, are the only sounds breaking the tension. Rooney, ever defiant, stands her ground, her jaw set, refusing to apologize for seeking justice for her family. She's a brick wall of stubborn resolve. Yet, amidst the reprimand, the director, with a subtle nod and a flicker in her eyes, drops a cryptic hint about a forgotten blood oath or a past transgression that might connect her family's killers to a figure from the organization's own history. It's a classic move, scold the prodigal child, but secretly provide a lifeline. It's a double-edged sword, an official rebuke mixed with an unofficial blessing. Rooney understands. The encounter ends with a cold warning, but Rooney leaves with not just a reprimand, but a vital piece of the puzzle. A name whispered in the shadows that unlocks a deeper, more treacherous path back in the relative safety of her minimalist safe house. Because assassins don't do chintzy decor, Rooney is a whirlwind of focused intensity. The soft glow of multiple screens illuminates her face as she sifts through the mountains of encrypted data she extracted from the data center. The director's cryptic hint, now a blazing beacon in her mind, guides her frantic search. The rapid clicking of her keyboard, the whirring of her computer's fan, these are the ambient sounds of a woman obsessed. She cross-references names, dates, and locations, piecing together a complex web of deceit and power. The pieces slowly, painstakingly begin to fall into place. Old records, redacted files, grainy surveillance footage, they all point to one central figure, a ghost in the system, a high-ranking member of an even larger, more insidious criminal organization. The sharp intake of her breath when a particular face finally appears on her screen is almost audible. It's not just a name or a target anymore. It's a face. A face connected not only to her family's horrific murder, but also to a sprawling conspiracy that stretches far beyond a simple vendetta. The realization hits her like a physical blow. The individual she's been hunting is not just a killer, but a puppet master, a manipulator who orchestrated her family's demise for reasons far more complex and disturbing than simple malice. The silence in the room after the reveal is deafening, punctuated only by the hum of the electronics. Her eyes, filled with a renewed, burning resolve, stare at the image. The personal quest for revenge has just become a fight against a deeply entrenched evil, and Rooney, quite frankly, looks ready to burn it all down. Knowing the magnitude of the forces she's now up against, Rooney seeks out the one person in the world who truly understands the raw, unyielding nature of grief-fueled vengeance, John Wick. Her search leads her to a desolate, abandoned building, perhaps an old warehouse or a crumbling church. A place where ghosts linger and silent understanding speaks volumes. The creak of rusted hinges, the echo of her footsteps in the empty space, preface the legendary figure's appearance. John Wick emerges from the shadows, a stoic, almost mythical presence. Their meeting is less a conversation and more a communion of souls. Very few words are exchanged, the whisper of the wind through broken windows filling the silence. They don't need to explain their pain or their purpose. It's etched onto their very beings. He simply observes her, a shared glance acknowledging the fire in her eyes, the same fire that burns within him. A subtle nod, a shared moment of grim understanding, a silent blessing, perhaps, for her path forward. He doesn't offer aid, but his presence is a powerful affirmation, a tacit approval that she is on the right course, even if it means tearing apart the very fabric of their world. The scene is profound in its quietness, the unspoken weight of their shared experiences hanging heavy in the air. It's like a superhero team-up, but instead of capes, they both rock impeccable suits and a penchant for making bad guys regret their life choices. Rooney leaves, not with an army, but with the quiet strength of knowing she is not entirely alone in her righteous fury. The stage is set, the target identified. And Rooney is now in full pre-game mode. This isn't just about gearing up. It's about mentally steeling herself for what's to come. Back in her safe house, the atmosphere is electric with focused energy. We see a meticulous preparation montage, a symphony of deadly efficiency. The click-clack of a pistol being expertly field-stripped and reassembled, the sheen of freshly oiled blades. The rustle of tactical gear being carefully organized. Every sound highlights her precision and experience. She practices her moves, a fluid, almost meditative dance of combat, each punch and kick landing with silent, deadly accuracy. She studies complex blueprints of the antagonist's fortified compound, mentally mapping out every corridor, every choke point, every potential escape route. She's not just planning an attack. She's orchestrating a masterpiece of destruction. The soft glow of her computer screen shows intricate schematics, highlighting entry points and enemy patrols. She's choosing specialized ammunition, selecting the perfect knives for silent takedowns, and even testing out some new gadgets that would make Q proud. Assuming Q moonlighted as an armor for vengeful ballerinas, the camera lingers on her face. No fear, no hesitation, just an unwavering, cold determination. This is the calm before the storm, the moment where all her training, all her suffering, coalesces into a singular, unstoppable purpose. This isn't just a mission, it's her destiny. And frankly, the bad guys are about to learn that you really shouldn't poke a ballerina with a vendetta. It never ends well for them. Under the cloak of a moonless night, Rooney launches her final assault. The antagonist's compound is a sprawling fortress, a monument to ill-gotten gains, brimming with state-of-the-art defenses and a veritable army of guards. The whisper of the wind carries the distant hum of the compound's generators as Rooney makes her approach, a phantom figure moving through the shadows. This initial phase is all about stealth and precision. She expertly navigates laser grids, disables motion sensors with surgical accuracy, and uses environmental cues to avoid detection. The soft thud of a tranquilizer dart, the almost imperceptible slice of a garrote wire, the clink of a dropped weapon, these are the subtle sounds of her progress. Each guard is neutralized with swift, silent efficiency, their bodies carefully hidden. She moves through opulent hallways adorned with priceless art and gleaming marble, a stark contrast to the brutal reality of her mission. The creak of a distant floorboard, the muffled conversation of guards around a corner, forced her to adapt on the fly, demonstrating her remarkable adaptability. This isn't just about fighting. It's about outsmarting, outmaneuvering, and becoming a ghost in their own fortress. The tension builds with every silent takedown, every bypassed security measure. We see the sheer scale of the operation she's facing, the layers of protection surrounding the mastermind. But Rooney is relentless, her singular focus burning brighter with every step deeper into the lion's den. She's practically a masterclass in how to disappear completely if you want to also cause a lot of mayhem. Stealth can only last so long, and inevitably, Rooney's cover is blown. A security camera whirs to life, an alarm blares, and the compound erupts into chaos. Suddenly, a tranquil infiltration transforms into a full-blown ballet of bullets and brutality. Rooney finds herself in a tight, winding corridor, and it quickly becomes a meat grinder. Guards pour in from every direction, armed to the teeth. The deafening roar of gunfire echoes through the confined space, each shot a sharp, concussive bang. Rooney, however, is in her element. She moves with a savage grace, each movement a response, a counter, a lethal strike. The crack of her elbow against a jaw, the thud of a body hitting the wall, the metallic clatter of a dropped weapon. It's a symphony of violence. She practices gun fu with an almost supernatural dexterity, dispatching foes with blinding speed, using their own momentum against them. She ricochets off walls, slides under gunfire, and disarms multiple attackers simultaneously. The The corridor becomes a canvas for her rage, painted with the desperate struggles of her enemies. She doesn't just fight. She dances through the mayhem, a whirlwind of lethal precision. The shatter of a glass pane, the spark of a grazed pipe, the gasp of a guard taking his last breath. Every moment is intense and visceral. It's a relentless, unyielding sequence that truly highlights her mastery of combat, proving that you can take the girl out of the ballet, but you can't take the lethal grace out of the girl. Whoever thought bringing a gun to a ballet fight was a good idea clearly hadn't seen Rooney in action. Having carved a path through the hordes of guards, Rooney finally comes face to face with the antagonist's primary enforcer, a brutal, muscle-bound individual who clearly skipped leg day but never arm day. This isn't just another faceless goon. This is the one who's been giving orders, ensuring the dirty work gets done. Their confrontation takes place in a large, almost cathedral-like server room, the hum of the machinery providing an unsettling drone. The flashing lights casting a strobe-like effect on their brutal dance. It's a classic showdown, the immovable object meeting the unstoppable force. The enforcer, a master of raw power, swings massive, crushing blows, each whoosh of his fist capable of taking Rooney's head off. Rooney, in turn, relies on her agility, her precision, and her unmatched technique. The clang of metal as their improvised weapons connect, the groan of effort, the sharp crack of a dislocated joint. It's a brutal symphony of combat. She evades, parries, and strikes, looking for openings, using the environment to her advantage. She dodges a brutal attack, sending him crashing into a server rack, causing a shower of sparks and the shriek of failing electronics. It's a prolonged, exhausting fight, pushing Rooney to her absolute limits. You can feel the bone-jarring impact of every blow, the desperation in her movements. She gets hit, she recovers, she adapts. It's a testament to her resilience and her sheer refusal to give up. After a grueling exchange, Rooney finally finds an opening, delivering a series of devastating, precise strikes that bring the towering brute to his knees, ending his reign of terror with a decisive, painful final blow. One down, one more to go, and the big boss is next. With the enforcer dealt with, Rooney sets her sights on the true mastermind. The fight moves through the compound, a trail of destruction in her wake, until she reaches the antagonist's inner sanctum. The confrontation is tense, brutal, and ultimately decisive. There's no dramatic monologue, just raw, unleashed fury and years of pent-up vengeance culminating in a swift, merciless end for the one who stole her family. The thud of the final strike, the gasp of defeat, and then silence. Rooney emerges from the crumbling, perhaps even burning, compound, a lone figure silhouetted against the rising smoke and distant sirens. The roar of the flames, the crackle of structural elements giving way, these are the sounds of an empire falling. She pauses just for a moment and looks back at the devastation. There's exhaustion etched onto her face, a deep weariness from the sheer cost of her vengeance. But there's also a quiet triumph, a sense of justice finally served. The gaping wound in her soul, caused by the horrific loss of her family, begins to close, not fully, but enough for her to breathe. The cold wind whips around her, carrying the scent of ash and resolution. She turns, walking away from the inferno, not toward a new life of peace, but toward a new path. The high table, the shadowy organizations, they still exist. Her family's killers are gone, but the system that allowed them to flourish remains. Her personal vendetta may be complete, but her skills, her unique blend of grace and lethal precision, now have a different purpose. She has become a force for balance, a protector, a ballerina who dances not just for revenge, but for justice in a world that desperately needs it. She's not just an assassin. She's an evolving symbol. She's found a new stage, and the performance has just begun. So, what did you all think of Rooney's journey? Let me know in the comments below. It's clear that even in a world dripping with stylish violence and impossible odds, there's always room for one more legendary figure to pirouette their way through the bad guys. Thanks for tuning in, and remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this deep dive. Stay safe out there, and I'll catch you next time for another epic recap. Keep those comments coming. and let's discuss our favorite moments from this fantastic addition to the Wickverse. Until then, stay awesome, stay safe, and maybe take a ballet, just in case. You never know when it might save your life. Or end someone else's. Just kidding, mostly. Today we're diving deep into the kinetic ballet of bullets and vengeance that is Ballerina 2025. If you like this sneak peek, hit the like button and subscribe. It's the best way to support the channel, and let me know you want more. We kick things off with a rather idyllic scene, introducing us to Rooney. A prima ballerina with a life as structured and graceful as her art, she's not just elegant on stage, but her world off it seems equally charmed, surrounded by a loving family. The film initially lulls you into this serene rhythm, showcasing her dedication to dance, the gentle clatter of her pointe shoes against the wooden floor, and the warm, hushed laughter of her loved ones. It's all very happily ever after until, it's absolutely not. That peaceful existence, yeah, it gets detonated, quite literally. Without warning, a devastating explosion rips through Rooney's home, reducing it to a twisted mess of splintered wood and choking smoke. The deafening roar of the blast gives way to an eerie, ringing silence, broken only by the crackle of burning debris. Our protagonist, by some cruel twist of fate, is spared, but she emerges from the smoldering ruins to find her entire family gone. It's a gut punch, delivered with all the subtlety of a wrecking ball. The scene masterfully captures the sheer terror and instantaneous desolation, leaving Rooney not just physically unharmed, but utterly hollowed out. The scent of ash and tragedy clinging to her dot in the agonizing days that follow. As Rooney grapples with the wreckage of her life, she stumbles upon a chilling discovery. Deep within the remnants of her family home, she finds a hidden compartment, not filled with old photo albums, but with an arsenal of specialized weapons and a dossier filled with cryptic intel. The metallic click of a hidden latch, the unexpected weight of a silenced pistol, the rustle of aged papers, it all screams not your average suburban family. Her family wasn't just the family next door. They were entangled in a shadowy network, a secret society operating beneath the veneer of everyday life. This revelation hits her like a second explosion, shattering her perception of everything she thought she knew, exchanging her grief for a burning, cold fury driven by a potent cocktail of sorrow and righteous anger. Rooney makes a silent, steel-cold vow. She will find those responsible. This isn't just about closure. It's about retribution. We see her poring over the discovered documents, the soft whisper of turning pages contrasting with the thunderous resolve in her eyes. Every name, every coded message, every obscure symbol becomes a piece of a deadly puzzle she's determined to solve. The film expertly shifts her motivation from passive victim to active hunter, the graceful movements of a ballerina replaced by the calculated precision of someone preparing for war. She's not just grieving, she's calculating, morphing into a weapon herself. Her initial inquiries lead her down a rabbit hole into the city's murky underbelly, a world far removed from the polished stages she once graced. She finds herself outside a grimy, neon-drenched nightclub, its bass thumping against the concrete, the air thick with the scent of stale cigarettes and desperation. This place, a buzzing hive of illicit activity, feels like an alien planet to her. The subtle thud of the club's beat vibrating through the soles of her shoes marks her crossing a threshold. The contrast between her delicate past and this harsh reality is palpable, underscoring just how far she's willing to go. She's a fish out of water, perhaps, but a very determined one. Within the club's smoky depths, Rooney encounters a seasoned, battle-hardened individual, a ghost from her family's past, perhaps. This character, let's call him the Quiet Man, has seen things, done things, and the quiet rasp of his voice as he utters her family's name sends a shiver down her spine. The scene is heavy with unspoken history, the clink of ice in a glass the only sound breaking the tension. He initially dismisses her, but something in her eyes, a reflection of her parents' own steel, compels him to help. He offers her a glimpse into the labyrinthine criminal underworld, not with open arms, but with a series of grim warnings and a grudging acceptance of her path. He's not exactly a life coach, more like a survival consultant for the terminally vengeful, Thus begins her transformation. The elegance of the ballet studio is replaced by the brutal pragmatism of a hidden training facility. The graceful plies become devastating takedowns, the precise fouettes become bone-shattering kicks. The air is filled with the dull thud of fists against pads, the sharp hiss of her breath, and the occasional grunt of pain. She trains relentlessly, melding her inherent grace and discipline with lethal combat techniques. The quiet man, a master of silent violence, teaches her not just how to fight, but how to move like a whisper, how to strike like lightning, and how to make every movement count. It's less a montage and more a grueling metamorphosis. The clatter of weights echoing her shattered innocence, her first real test arrives in the form of a low-level enforcer, a sniveling brute with information Rooney desperately needs. This isn't a grand, explosive shootout. It's a tight, claustrophobic interrogation. The air crackles with tension, punctuated only by the nervous gulp of the target and the soft click of a surgical instrument. Rooney, no longer the terrified ballerina, moves with a chilling calm, her voice a low, steady hum. She uses her newfound skills not just for physical persuasion, but for psychological leverage, dismantling her opponent's bravado piece by agonizing piece. It's a stark, brutal demonstration of her evolution, proving she's learned how to make pain sing and how to make people talk. The scene has this amazing moment where she almost dances around him, applying pressure. Like a predator, the information she extracts points her towards a high-ranking syndicate member, holed up in a ridiculously opulent hotel suite. Rooney, now outfitted in a sleek, dark suit, because, let's face it, even revenge needs a good aesthetic, infiltrates the lavish establishment. Her entry is surprisingly quiet, a testament to her improved stealth. But the moment she's discovered, the gloves come off, literally. 3 hulking bodyguards, looking like they stepped out of a fashion magazine for henchmen, converge on her. What follows is a whirlwind of fluid combat, a dance of death where every move is calculated, every strike precise. The clink of their designer watches against her fists, the muffled thud of bodies hitting expensive furniture. It's a brutal ballet of broken bones and shattered glass. Honestly, who needs a gym when you have 3 dudes trying to stop you from getting answers? Wounded but undeterred, Rooney finds herself drawn to a familiar sanctuary for those in her line of work, the Continental Hotel. The ornate doors swing open with a soft, inviting creak, a stark contrast to the violence she just left. Inside, she's greeted by the impeccable Karen, whose polite inquiries about her reservation are laced with an unspoken understanding of her visible injuries. Then, the legendary Winston himself appears, his voice a smooth, knowing rumble. The scene masterfully weaves in her connection to the broader John Wick universe, hinting at an established history between her family and the high table's intricate rules. The hushed clinking of ice in glasses, the low murmur of sophisticated conversations. It's all a welcome balm to her frayed nerves. A brief respite in a world that rarely offers one. Winston, ever the enigmatic chess master, provides Rooney with a crucial piece of the puzzle, directing her to a seemingly impregnable data center, the digital fortress of the true mastermind behind her family's demise. This place is less a building and more a silent, humming beast, guarded by laser grids and autonomous drones that glide with unsettling quiet. The faint whirring of the servers, the subtle hum of electricity in the air, create a constant, low-level anxiety. Rooney navigates the labyrinthine corridors with a dancer's precision, every step calculated, every breath held. It's a pure stealth sequence, emphasizing her agility and intelligence over brute force. She's not just breaking in, she's performing a high-stakes, deadly ballet with technology as her stage partner. And let's be real, those laser grids look like they were designed by a particularly over-enthusiastic video game-level designer, deep within the data center's core. Rooney engages in a tense digital duel with the architect's chief hacker, a whiz-kid whose fingers fly across the keyboard with infuriating speed. The frantic clicking of her own keys, the low hum of the massive servers surrounding them, create a symphony of technological warfare. She's racing against the clock, downloading crucial intel, when the hacker's face flickers onto her monitor, a look of chilling recognition in his eyes. The subtle sound of a soft ping signaling a system breach is suddenly much louder. She barely snatches the data before alarms blare, sirens begin to wail, and the entire facility locks down. It's a heart-pounding escape, where every second counts, and every shadow offers a fleeting moment of cover. Her ballet training helps her with the leaps, I assume. With the alarms blaring like a particularly aggressive orchestra, Rooney's escape is nothing short of cinematic chaos. She tears through the building, scaling walls and leaping across chasms with a grace that belies the brutal intensity of her situation. The clatter of her boots on the metallic grates, the distant shouts of security, all blend into a symphony of adrenaline. The chase spills onto the city streets, a blur of screeching tires and narrow escapes. In a move that would make any action hero proud, she executes a death-defying leap from a towering skyscraper, landing with a gut-wrenching thud onto the roof of a speeding train below. The wind whips past her ears, the rumble of the train a thunderous companion, as she narrowly avoids the grasping hands of pursuing agents. It's a true hold-your-breath moment. Back in a secure location, Rooney pores over the decrypted data, the flickering screens illuminating her determined face. As names and faces begin to coalesce, a gasp escapes her lips. Among the antagonist's top lieutenants is a face she knows, a face she mourned, a face she believed to be long dead, a member of her own family. The click of the keyboard stops, the silence in the room suddenly deafening. This isn't just a betrayal, it's a seismic shift in her understanding of the world. The very people she's trying to avenge were perhaps never entirely innocent, or at least, one of them wasn't. The emotional weight of this revelation crashes down on her, replacing her righteous fury with a searing sense of personal betrayal. It's like finding out your favorite superhero actually just outsourced all their good deeds. The film then weaves in a series of poignant, unsettling flashbacks, revealing the depths of this betrayal. We see glimpses of a younger Rooney, innocent and oblivious, overhearing hushed, ominous conversations, catching fleeting, suspicious glances, the soft murmur of voices from behind a closed door, the subtle creak of a floorboard, all details that, in hindsight, scream red flag. We learn of the family members' own hidden ambitions, their resentment, their slow corruption. It's a tragic unraveling, showing how ambition and darkness can fester within the closest bonds. This isn't just about a bad guy. It's about a wound within her own bloodline, twisting the knife of vengeance even deeper. I mean, talk about awkward family reunions, right? With this devastating truth in hand, Rooney knows she can't face this new threat alone. She seeks out the director, the formidable head of the Ruska Roma crime syndicate, a figure whose presence alone commands respect and a healthy dose of fear. The low, resonant tones of the director's voice fill the cavernous, almost theatrical space they meet in. The scene is heavy with history, hinting at the Ruska Roma's deep ties to the underworld and perhaps even Rooney's own lineage. Rooney, with a quiet strength, lays out her case, her voice steady despite the seismic emotional shift she's just endured. She asks for their resources, their knowledge, and their formidable reach. The subtle click of beads on a prayer rope, the slow, assessing gaze of the director, it's a negotiation built on trust and a shared understanding of vengeance. You can almost feel the weight of their alliance forming, with the Ruska Roma's backing. Rooney sets her sights on the antagonist's main fortress, a sprawling, imposing industrial complex that looks less like a headquarters and more like a supervillain's lair. An aerial shot establishes its formidable defenses, barbed wire fences gleaming under artificial lights, guard towers casting long, sinister shadows. The low hum of distant machinery, the rhythmic clang of metal, it all signifies a place of immense power and dark secrets. The air itself feels thick with menace. This isn't just a building. It's a statement, a testament to the antagonist's reach and resources. Rooney knows this is the point of no return, the stage for her final, most dangerous performance. It's time to crash this party, and she's not bringing or single quotes o EUVRES. Under the cloak of night, Rooney and his small, elite team, likely handpicked by the director, begin their infiltration. This is a masterclass in silent entry. The faint whir of drones patrolling overhead, the soft scuff of boots on gravel, The barely audible click of a lockpick, every sound is amplified by the tension. Rooney, moving with the ethereal grace of a specter, disarms advanced laser grids with surgical precision, the hiss of the beam cutting through the air. Guards are neutralized with swift, brutal efficiency, their bodies slumping to the ground with barely a whisper. It's a testament to her training and the Ruska Roma's meticulous planning. They're not just breaking in. They're performing a symphony of calculated destruction, one silent note at a time. Inevitably, the stealth is compromised. A sudden alarm blares, its piercing shriek echoing through the sterile, brightly lit corridors. What follows is an absolute explosion of close-quarters combat. Rooney, outnumbered and outgunned, uses her environment to deadly effect. The metallic clang of a discarded pipe against armored plating, the guttural grunts of men, the sharp crack of a ribcage, it's a chaotic symphony of violence. She's twisting, ducking, weaving, turning every attack into an opportunity, every open space into a stage for her lethal ballet. The camera work here is incredible, capturing the fluidity of her movements while simultaneously conveying the sheer brutality of the fight. It's less a dance and more a whirlwind of calculated destruction, painting the walls with the sweat and determination of a woman on a mission. Her path through the complex becomes a relentless gauntlet. Each level presents new obstacles, heavily armed platoons, automated turrets, and cunningly placed traps. The echoing boom of gunfire, the frantic ping of ricocheting bullets, and the metallic screech of failing security systems create a deafening cacophony. Rooney doesn't just fight her way through. She dances through the chaos, her movements a blur of controlled aggression. She slides under a closing blast door with barely an inch to spare, firing a shotgun backwards with a satisfying kaboom at the pursuing henchman. The sheer endurance and adaptability she displays are incredible. It's like watching a deadly, graceful pinball machine, except the pinball has a vendetta. Every step is a fight, every corner a potential ambush, yet she pushes through with grim determination. Finally, Rooney corners the betraying family member in a stark, minimalist office. The air is thick with unspoken history, the sterile silence of the room amplifying the emotional weight of their confrontation. There's no grand explosion, no frantic shootout, just two people, bound by blood, torn apart by choices. The low, trembling cadence of Rooney's voice as she demands answers contrasts sharply with the family member's cold, calculated responses. The scene explores the complexities of their relationship, delving into the motivations behind the betrayal, their selfish desires contrasting with Rooney's quest for justice. It's a gut-wrenching moment, where the pain of betrayal is almost more potent than any physical blow. You can almost feel the air crackling with unresolved familial angst, which, let's be honest, is probably worse than any bullet wound. Asterisk, the emotional confrontation inevitably explodes into a desperate, personal duel. No guns, just blades and raw, desperate combat. They fight across a grand, marble-floored ballroom, the rhythmic scrape of their feet across the polished surface echoing the grim dance. The sharp shink of blades meeting, the labored gasps for breath, the thud of bodies against opulent decor. It's a fight fueled by years of unresolved trauma and fresh betrayal. Both are highly trained, but Rooney's balletic grace gives her a unique, almost ethereal advantage, weaving in and out of her opponent's attacks with surprising fluidity. Every lunge, every parry, every desperate thrust carries the weight of their shattered bond. It's a tragic, beautiful, and utterly brutal spectacle, where every move tells a story of pain and regret, just as Rooney delivers the final decisive blow to her betraying family member. A slow, mocking clap echoes through the ballroom. From the deeper shadows of the opulent room emerges the true mastermind, their face a picture of chilling calm and calculated amusement. Their voice, a low, predatory purr, acknowledges Rooney's performance with a disturbing sense of proprietary pleasure. The scene is a masterclass in tension as the mastermind reveals the intricate, manipulative web they've woven, their long game having orchestrated every tragedy, every betrayal. The quiet click of their polished shoes on the marble floor is the only sound, signaling the arrival of a truly formidable villain. It's like, oh, you thought you were done, surprise. There's a final boss and he's been watching the whole time, probably eating popcorn. The antagonist, with a theatrical flourish, unveils the full extent of their diabolical scheme. A rapid-fire montage of unsettling flashbacks shows how they meticulously manipulated Rooney's family, exploiting their vulnerabilities, turning them against each other, and ultimately orchestrating the explosion. The chilling clarity of their plan, the intricate connections between seemingly random events, sends shivers down your spine. Their voice drips with a self-satisfied malice, explaining how Rooney herself was a pawn in their larger game, a mere instrument in their pursuit of power. The subtle click-click-click of their exposition dropping into place reveals a depth of villainy that's truly unsettling. This isn't just about revenge anymore. It's about breaking free from a puppet master who's been pulling the strings her entire life. With the full truth laid bare, Rooney unleashes her fury. This is it, the ultimate ballet, where every movement is a strike, every defense a counter. The room around them begins to crumble under the ferocity of their exchange, plaster raining down, lights flickering and dying, casting long, dancing shadows. The sharp crack of fists connecting with bone, the whoosh of near misses, the guttural roar of effort, it all blends into a visceral symphony of combat. The mastermind is no slouch, demonstrating a chilling command of their own deadly arts, matching Rooney's grace with brutal efficiency. But Rooney, fueled by a lifetime of discipline and a burning desire for justice, pushes herself beyond her limits. This isn't just a fight, it's a desperate, personal dance to reclaim her agency and honor her shattered past. She's basically saying, "You think you're good? Watch me pirouette on your face." After a grueling, heart-stopping confrontation, Rooney, battered and bleeding but unbroken, finally stands victorious over the defeated mastermind. The satisfying thud of the antagonist hitting the ground is almost drowned out by the groaning, collapsing structure around them. The building, having taken too much punishment, begins its final descent into ruin. The distant wail of sirens, growing louder with each passing second, signals the arrival of external forces, possibly police, possibly more shadowy figures. The dust and debris sting her eyes, the acrid smell of smoke fills her lungs, but a profound sense of grim satisfaction washes over her. She's won, but the cost is etched onto her very being, a fragile victory amidst the chaos. It's like beating a particularly tough video game boss, only to realize the entire console is on fire. In the chaotic aftermath, as emergency services swarm the collapsing complex, Rooney, wounded but alive, slips away. She's no longer the naive ballerina, nor just a vengeful assassin. She's a seasoned operative, a ghost moving through the shadows. The scene cuts to Winston and Karen, observing from a distance, a knowing, almost proud smile playing on Winston's lips. The subtle click of Winston's lighter and the puff of smoke underscored their quiet acknowledgement of her transformation. Her journey has undeniably linked her to the intricate tapestry of the high table and its unforgiving rules. The faint echo of her footsteps as she vanishes into the labyrinthine alleys of the city leaves us with the distinct impression that her story is far from over. She's not just a character. She's a force now, a silent, deadly ballet on the world stage. Months pass, and we see Rooney again, but she's different. The raw edges of her grief have smoothed into a steely resolve, her movements possessing a newfound gravitas. The gentle rustle of her coat, the confident click of her heels, every detail speaks to her evolution. She's no longer chasing vengeance. She's navigating the murky waters of the underworld with a quiet authority. We see her attending a clandestine meeting of various shadowy figures, her presence commanding respect, not fear. She's found a place not as a pawn, but as a player, writing her own rules in a world that thrives on them. It's a powerful visual, hinting that her ballet is far from over. But now she's choreographing her own steps, a master of her own dangerous dance. In a quiet, poignant moment, Rooney finds herself passing a deserted ballet studio. The dusty windows, the peeling paint, the echoes of forgotten artistry. It's a stark contrast to her current life. She pauses, a fleeting, almost imperceptible shadow of melancholy crossing her face as she hears, or perhaps imagines, the phantom strains of classical music, the soft whisper of a piano. The scene is a powerful, silent reflection on the life she lost, the innocence that was brutally stripped away. It's a reminder that beneath the hardened exterior of the assassin, the spirit of the ballerina still flickers. The silent tears welling up in her eyes, quickly blinked away, speak volumes without a single word being uttered. It's a heavy moment, showcasing the lingering cost of her path. Rooney's evolution isn't just about fighting, it's about influence. We see her mediating a tense dispute between two rival underworld factions, their faces etched with suspicion and animosity. The air crackles with unspoken threats, the subtle metallic glint of concealed weapons. Her voice, calm and measured, cuts through the tension like a surgeon's scalpel. She doesn't just impose rules, she establishes a new code of conduct, demonstrating her newfound authority and a vision that extends beyond simple, personal vengeance. The quiet agreement among the factions, the grudging nods of respect, underscore her rising power. She's not just an enforcer. She's a peacemaker, or at least a temporary peacekeeper in a very dangerous sandbox. It's like she's become the UN of assassins, just with better outfits. Just as Rooney seems to find a fragile sense of balance, the film reminds us that the underworld is an endless game. A shadowy figure, their face obscured by dim light and high-tech equipment, is shown observing Rooney from a distant, sophisticated surveillance room. The subtle click of a mouse, the faint hum of computer screens, create an unnerving sense of omnipresence. A sinister smirk plays on their lips as they watch her every move, hinting at a new, unseen threat emerging from the depths of this complex world. The quiet menace of the scene ensures that her journey is far from over, that new challenges and even deadlier adversaries await. It's the classic you think you've won, but actually, the sequel's already being planned moment, and honestly, we wouldn't have it any other way. In a quiet, contemplative scene, Rooney sits alone on a rain-slicked rooftop, gazing out at the sprawling, neon-drenched city below. The distant murmur of urban life, the rhythmic drip of water from the eaves, create a backdrop for her internal struggle. The weight of her choices, the lives she's taken, the paths she's forged, it all rests heavily upon her. There's a profound sense of solitude, but also a quiet strength in her posture. Her eyes, hardened by experience, now also hold a flicker of something new, a sense of purpose, perhaps even a nascent hope for something beyond endless vengeance. The scene doesn't offer easy answers, but instead acknowledges the complex, often brutal reality of her world, leaving us to wonder what choices she will make next. It's a beautifully melancholic moment, like the quiet after a storm. But you know, another one is brewing. The film culminates with Rooney making a definitive, powerful choice, embracing her new identity not as a victim, but as a force. Clad in full black combat gear, she stands on a high vantage point, the city lights twinkling below like scattered jewels. The wind whips around her, the quiet rustle of her gear the only sound. With a final, symbolic leap, executed with the breathtaking grace of a ballerina, she plunges into the unknown, ready for whatever challenges the future holds. This isn't an ending, it's a powerful new beginning. Her journey reminds us that even from the deepest ashes, extraordinary strength can rise. It shows us that purpose, forged in fire, can light the way through the darkest of times, and that our greatest power often lies in our resilience and ability to adapt. She's not just a survivor. She's a testament to the enduring human spirit, proving that even when the world tries to break you, you can always find a new rhythm to dance to. And that, my friends, is a wrap on this epic recap. Until next time, stay awesome.